Hello, everybody. Welcome to my studio at the North Star Art Gallery here in Ithaca, New York. I'm in the final stages of doing this mythological painting, and so that's what I want to share with you tonight is how to finish a painting. And it's a good question. A lot of people ask, how do you know when you're done? And I have this system sort of that I borrowed from Dan Green, a famous portrait painter, and he had a list of several things that he went over. And a couple of them are go over the whole painting for edges, look for where edges could be sharper, crisper, or look for where they could be softened and diffused. And then go over the painting, looking at perspective, see if the perspective needs to be adjusted. That's something that probably happens in the early stages too, but you could make final tweaks to it as the painting nears the end. And then look for areas that color needs to be punched up. That would be a item, and I just punched up the gold on the moon there, made it a little more light, and added a little more chroma to it. So looking for areas where color can be tweaked, hue can be tweaked, value, look for the overall value distributions, and where the darks can be unified and the lights can be unified. So I'm going to share something specific. If you come in, this is something that I often do, is soften edges. You should only have certain edges that are crisp, and the boat is one area where I've got some crisp edges there, and that's a good place for them because it's a hard edge, it's a crisp edge, and we have a contrast of light and dark. But on the figures, right now I'm softening the torso of this nymph here, this siren, and when I looked at it in a photograph, I could see that some of these edges could be softened a little bit. So I've got a light color here on this brush. If you come over here to my palette, where was I here? I think I was, I'll mix up one. It's a little bit of Naples yellow and a little bit of cerulean blue in here. And that's the light color. It's a little too late. Let me go back and I'm applying the color in kind of short to choppy strokes, thinking of it sort of like Michelangelo when he would sculpt, to have the brush strokes kind of describe the form of the model. And you can see some of the color of the under tint coming through here, and that's okay. This is the tint that I toned the whole canvas with, this kind of burnt umber-ish color. This is another area that I wanted to soften here. And so then I have this other brush with a different color here. It's this sort of very low chroma, bluish gray. And so I'm lightening that and softening that edge. Here's another edge that I'm softening on her hip there. When you think of Leonardo da Vinci, like his portrait of the Mona Lisa, it's extremely subtle nuances of graduation of tone, which is kind of the opposite of Rembrandt, where he uses very vigorous brush strokes. So that's the general idea here. I could go a little bit further and keep softening that, but I think you get the idea. I was also working on the torso of this figure up here and softening those edges. One other thing that I wanted to share with you was this structure or armature of the painting, and it has a series of triangles. And I can't say that I planned it that way, but maybe subconsciously I can give myself a credit or a pat on the back. And it's borrowed from the Renaissance painters of the system of triangulation or a pyramidal structure, and I find it very intriguing. And there's an overall triangular shape here between the moon coming down through here, then over here, then across here. So that's the main triangle there. But then there's several other triangles here formed by these nymphs and their hands coming up. And then this, so there's a triangle here, kind of a rough triangle, but still enough. And then there's a triangle here formed by the oars, and then still another triangle formed between the rower and the nymph there. So there's a series of interlocking triangles that I find interesting and intriguing. And before I finish here, I'll show you the studies that I did. And come over here, and if you follow me over here, I've got these two preliminary studies that I did in the tradition of the Renaissance painters, specifically Andrea del Sarto, and using red chalk and white pastel highlights. And the theme of it is, the title of the painting is called Ulysses and the Incredible Levitating Rowboat. So I invented it. It's kind of a spoof, a parody on the theme, and just having fun with it. And even the rowers and backwards, but that kind of adds to the whole effect of being like a vaudeville or a spoof, and something that I just had fun with. And this model was great. Here's a portrait that I did of him. He researched it and got a costume and his jewelry, and so that was part of the preliminaries, doing these sketches. All right, if you back up, I'll once you step there, I'll complete the video. So thanks so much for your attention. I wanted to share this about completing a painting, and this is a mythological painting, and it fits in with our exhibit here at the North Star Art Gallery in Ithaca, New York, of mythology. It runs from November probably into January of 2022, so if you're in the area, stop in. But it's also available on our website, northstarartgallery.com. You can see the variety of paintings and the preliminary drawings. So I hope this was beneficial for you, and thanks so much for your attention, and hope to see you around.